Look at this jet flying over the sea as its supersonic boom vaporizes the water. Oh my God! Strong winds don't just affect landing. Look at this little airplane taking off by itself due to high winds. Bye, have a great time. This Turkish pilot gave a little treat to the plane spotters. This is as close as you can get to a flying F-16. But it can't get any smoother than pulling off an emergency landing on a busy highway. Yes, you heard that right. Watch as this small plane lands in the middle of traffic. Bad weather is always bad news when it comes to aviation. Just look at this plane being struck by lightning. Sometimes, vertical landings are done on purpose by professionals, and it must take a lot of nerve to handle such maneuvers in a multi-million-dollar aircraft. These people got a little too close to the jet. Don't blink, you might miss it. These two jets took the audience by surprise before a football match. The adventure had the audience shook, and all they could do was cheer. This football match also saw a flyby by two fighter jets, but this flyby was so low, the pilots ended up getting grounded. But honestly, nothing could have prepared the audience for this football game, as they saw the biggest flyby in NFL history. Come on, what an epic sight to see. You can really see the jet dynamics at work here, as this jet pulls a low pass at a speed of over 700 miles per hour. Here you can see an F-22 Raptor tearing up the famous Mach. Just look at this mighty F-22 in action up close, as it's being chased by an F-15 East Strike Eagle. There truly are no limits to the capabilities of these fighter jets, and their pilots. Check out this F-22 doing a flat spin, which is when a plane descends in tight circles while staying perfectly horizontal. And yes, it does look as crazy as it sounds. But flat spins don't always end this smoothly. This F-14 found itself in a flat spin, so hard to recover from that. The pilot had to sacrifice the entire $50 million aircraft and eject. The pilot makes an agonizing decision, ejects, losing the $50 million airplane, but saving his life. Witnessing AV to bomber has gotta be one of the rarest sights in aviation. Look how this gigantic stealth bomber's built to disappear in a matter of seconds. And here's an even more close-up sighting of the magnificent B-2 bomber as it's captured landing into the sunset. This is what happens when the frame per second or ADIO camera matches the speed of a helicopter rotor. Are those blades even moving? A F-35C put on a show for this crowd and pulled off an amazing supersonic low pass. I gotta wonder if the passengers on this plane even realized the moment they hit the ground, because that landing was smooth as butter. This pilot pulls off a rare stunt while performing a vertical maneuver at an air show. The F-22 Raptor is almost at a dead stop while being upside down mid-air. This F-22 Raptor displays the extent of its abilities at an air show as it performs a vertical takeoff. You can see the afterburners on this plane in action as it pulls a hard turn at the Avalon airship. This aircraft displays an impressive move at an airshow as it appears to be free-falling while maintaining a flat stance. This move is called a flying leaf maneuver, and it looks both terrifying and awesome at the same time. Take a look at this Gnu, cause it chases the boat really close to the water. These helicopters are a true marvel of aviation engineering. It's almost unbelievable how these massive and heavy aircrafts can pull off such daring and sharp maneuvers. Have a look at this. Janet performing a handbrake turn at the RAF Wadding Airshow. Watch this expert pilot recover his aircraft after it stalls and goes into a downward spin. And let's just say it was lucky he managed to stop the spin before the grounding. Looks pretty terrifying. You don't want to end up behind the engine of a plane when it's ready to take off. And if you think you stand a chance, you'll definitely change your mind when you see this car go against the power of a jet engine. Do you ever wonder how those massive power line towers are brought to their respective locations? Well, here's your answer. Lifting power line towers isn't even the limit for a helicopter's power. Look at this helicopter lifting and transporting an entire plane. The HH-3F helicopter displayed its phenomenal maneuverability by landing in the middle of a water body and then taking off at an air show. Here is what over 5,000 hours of flight experience. Notice how close the pilot gets to the surface while still maintaining flight incredible. Did you know that? Helicopters don't even need to land to refuel with the help of massive fuel tanker airplanes. They do the job mid-air. Wait, do planes have a reverse gear too? This scene looks like it came straight out of a post-apocalyptic movie. Look at this plane in action against the forest fires. This pilot did some quick thinking while firefighting. Look at this amazing maneuver as this helicopter refills its water carriage from a swimming pool. A running jet engine in? Heavy rain sucks in the water surrounding the engine, making it look like a mini tornado in the jet engine. How can you miscalculate your distance from an object as massive as a plane? But in high speeds, such miscalculations can be fatal, like this near miss between two planes that almost collided at Barcelona Airport. This might be one of the shortest plane landings you ever see because what you're looking at is a plane attempting a vertical landing due to strong headwinds. This student pilot had a real test of her nerves during her first solo flight. This stunt is just insane. Watch as an experienced pilot attempts to land and take off in a plane from a small helipad. These Belgian Air Force personnel are truly experiencing an epic mission impossible seen in real life. And check out this insane F-20 to Cobra and flare maneuver. And an F-20 to Raptor. Doing a hard 90-degree turn with afterburners is not something you see every day. A good file can make even failures look awesome. I would strongly suggest you, too, not build your own helicopter at home. But these people in Africa seem to make it work. But these guys decided to take homemade helicopters to the next level and made something called a hunger helicopter, which is capable of doing some insane maneuvers. I get the feeling there are no small mistakes in this sport. A star. The Singapore Airshow flying display is a Sukhoi Su-30 MKM tailored for the Royal Malaysian Air Force. With thrust vectoring, it performs impressive acrobatics, like the Cobra maneuver. When this guy brought his wife to an air show, she was in for a real surprise as the Vulcan bomber displayed its power. If you want to have a nice day at the beach, make sure to not go to one that's right by an airport. It's epic to see F-16 in an airshow, but it's even more impressive seeing it from the pilot's point of view. Quite dark, I'm trying to film Conquer. Imagine just playing soccer with your kid outside your house when this monster suddenly appears above you. Here's what it's like for an Army paratrooper to step into the air over a drop zone. Jumping out of a plane and landing to a stadium of applause is gotta be one of the greatest feelings ever. Skydiver Jay Alvarez decided to combine his two skills and skateboarded above the clouds. Witnessing a space shuttle launch from the ground is one thing, but seeing it from an airplane is another level. You thought you'd seen low pass until you witnessed this extreme low pass done by legendary Russian Sukhoi test pilot and a totally co-vocher in a Sukhoi Su-30 flanker. As might be expected, this crazy stunt has never been done before, but that didn't stop experienced skydiver Sebastian Avadas from wanting to try. He's flown over volcanoes before, but with a new suit design and careful preparation, he became the first person to fly into and out of an active volcano in a wingsuit. These guys just spent $20,000 on a really huge drone to do something totally worth it. That guy really trusts his friends. Do you think this was worth $20,000? The F-20 Raptor doesn't really fear any opponent in the skies, but it's not immune to suddenly stalling and free falling. Luckily, this pilot was skilled enough to save himself and the expensive plane. These Royal Marines using a jetpack. Looks like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. Just watch how they effortlessly fly around, completing missions, almost like they're in a video game. Watch is a 97-year-old World War II veteran and former paratrooper recreated his jump in Omaha Beach, marking 75 years since he first lapped during D-Day. This must be the most American thing I've seen in a long time.
I know, he's waiting.
These guys were out flying their RC planes when suddenly an Apache attack helicopter spotted them and decided to give them a tree they'll never forget. When the single-engine plane suddenly failed. Luckily, while dodging power lines on their way down, he managed to make an emergency landing on a busy highway without hitting a single vehicle. Imagine you're a police officer driving around the peaceful neighborhood when you suddenly see a single plane engine flying wrap high and doing an emergency landing. It's one thing to see cars race, but if you ever seen a giant Boeing 747 overtaking a Boeing 737, yeah. Have you ever seen another plane while flying? It's a rare sight to see, but these passengers got a once-in-a-lifetime experience. To celebrate Queen Elizabeth Platinum Jubilee, 70 military planes, jets, and helicopters flew past London during the ceremony of trooping of the colour. And the 70 aircraft flyover marks 70 years of the Queen on the throne. This FA-18 Hornet might seem like it's breaking the sound barrier, but it's not. The cloud-like shape around the jet is caused by something called vapor pressure, which happens during transonic flight. Okay, so this certainly explains a lot. This Chinese tech company recently unveiled their manned flying saucer, and the goal is to use it as transportation for tourists. This is called the Zeva Arrow, and it's all about zipping through the sky sustainably. It takes off vertically and then hovers, zooms forward, and cruises at a cool 160 miles per hour. And in 1934, this weird-looking plane had its very first test flight. It's called the Umbrella Plane. In the future, we might have planes that can fly forever. Just check out this remotely piloted, solar-powered aircraft prototype created by NASA. Just imagine being on a bus on your way to work, and suddenly a Navy helicopter crash lands on top of you. Apparently, the Mexican Navy helicopter was headed to areas affected by Hurricane Grace, and thankfully no one was injured. A pilot ejected from a Lockheed Martin F-35B Lightning to fighter jet during a failed landing at the Naval Air Station JBR, Fort Worth, causing the expensive aircraft to crash. Most importantly, though, the pilot made it out unharmed. Thankfully, nobody was injured. In this next clip that was filmed in 2010, it shows a CF-18 crashing during an air show in Canada. The pilot ejected in his Martin Baker NASA Seed, just as the Bee Gees' Staying Alive was playing in the speakers. Stunt pilot Luki Azapiella managed to land a small airplane on the world-famous helipad on top of the iconic 7-star hotel in Dubai. The helipad is only 27 meters in diameter, but after only a couple of attempts, he finally did it. Sounds good, I'll let him know. We make history, man. We make history that was beautiful. Watch is this. F-16 pilot gives the plane spotters a Turkish haircut. And if you thought that looked unbelievable, now just compare it to this 1920s early helicopter, and you'll be even more amazed at how rapidly technical development has been over the years. The amount of engineering that went into this incredible aircraft is on another level. Just witness how steady this F-35V looks as it does its very first vertical test takeoff. Now, you witnessed a bunch of incredible aviation moments from today's technological marvels, but let's rewind the clock and take a look at how it all began. These are only a few of the many pioneers who experienced failures trying to do the impossible. As you can see, all big things come from small beginnings. A friend of mine told me she's always swept off her feet every time a plane takes off at Princess Juliana Airport. I didn't realize she meant it literally. You could have cut the tension in this cockpit with a knife after these pilots realized that the engine of the plane was failing. Is this the shortest takeoff you've seen? On A and to make. A flame-throwing drone is ridiculous, but I now also know what I want for Christmas. Do you ever see spacers and power lines and wonder how they got there? Well, it takes a team that puts their lives in the line to make sure you have stable electricity. I can think of a million places where the news can be cast from, and this isn't one of them. Did you know that? It's possible to fuel an aircraft in midair. It is known as aerial refueling, and judging by the skill of this pilot, he's had to do it many times. If you've ever wondered where firefighting helicopters get large amounts of water, this is the AT-6 for E. Sikorsky Ericsson air crane, filling up its tanks straight from the ocean. That helicopter must weigh a ton if it can transport a plane twice its size. Is this a dangerous landing? Or a bunch of idiots with cameras? This is the AFA-1 8C Legacy Hornet, breaking the speed of sound and leaving behind the infamous sonic boom. This is also how fast I expect my order to get to me after the app says it's on its way. They finally captured the cow in the meadow. From Krung Pao, that's the only cow I know that can be this calm at this altitude. It was raining Humvees. After an army training exercise went wrong in Germany, 3 vehicles somehow detached from their parachute system and crashed to the ground. Move over fire trucks, there's a new sheriff in town. Way to stick the landing. This pilot makes seaplane landings look easy. In 2017, a fire broke out at a beloved commune in France. The fire was so intense, and the task to put it out rested on the shoulders of these 9 Strike Force aircraft. It must be so hard not to give aviation workers raises every week, especially ones like these who do their jobs extremely well. Well, here's another helicopter I didn't think I'd know about in this lifetime. It's called a sky crane helicopter, and it helps build steel towers. How do we buy tickets to the next air race? Because just from the pilot's point of view, this looks phenomenal. Best believe I'd be asking for a refund after paying hundreds of dollars in shipping fees, only for them to wreck my AC a few feet from a house. Now this is the proper way to deliver ACS. I'm gonna need that other company to take notes. Think about how hard it is to replace an antenna on a telecommunications the next time you want to complain about bad service. The manufacturers of this plane's wings should be proud. Strong wing to vortices are indicators of good lift generation. Watching seaplanes is always so fascinating because a vehicle that can float and fly is extraordinary. I've not seen any of these air cars on the road or in the area, but I'd say that this is a good start. If not for this skilled pilot, this landing could have gone really wrong in so many ways. Yeah, flying around in circles is what this will get you. One of these F-15E Strike Eagles experienced a blowout. Can you guess which one? This compressor still reminds me of my Nissan. Trying to use a truck to transport a faulty plane was dumb, and you'll see why in a second. No regard for social distancing whatsoever. I guess Red Bull really does give you wings. Am I the only one who thinks he barely made it? An inch shorter and he would have completely missed it.